Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tony, and this is Tony's Tractor Adventure. And today we're going to do a video on how to build a pole barn without regrets. Guys, I can't talk. You kind of expect that. So I got Joe here. Joe, you just finished putting, and you're not even done yet.
No.
Fair, but you're at this point in time, you are an expert on how to build a pole barn without regrets because it's fresh in your mind. All the things that you wished you would have done and wished you had a thought about. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Awesome.
You guys don't know, you're out of frame. What'd you let me get out of frame for?
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit taller than you are. So,
I got to put my arm like way out here. Anyway, guys, this is Joe from Joe the Farmer. He's actually doing a series. You're doing a series on this barn build, and it's pretty interesting. And first world perspective. So I want you to come over and watch that for us too. If you're thinking about building a pole barn, this will be good for you.
Welcome to my barn, everyone.
Welcome to Joe's barn. So, Joe, how long has this process been going on? When did you first start thinking about building a barn?
So we had a previous barn, and in the series we actually show us demolishing that barn. We tried to save it. It was an older barn, like more of a cattle equestrian barn, and we have a lot of equipment, so we really needed an equipment barn. So we started talking about this really late last year in 2024, and then 2025, we decided to pull the trigger and sign on the dotted line in December. And here we are in almost late June. And we're still, as you see, we're under roof, which is good, but we still have a lot of work to do.
What goes into planning one of these? What was first off, I guess you got to figure out what you need.
Right.
And not what you need today, but what you might need.
And this building, really, we probably need 2/3 of it, but we're going to grow into the rest of it. And what goes into planning it really is you have to think about all the things that you want to use it for. So for our family, there's 5 of us. We want to use it not just for equipment, but we also want to use it for entertaining, bringing people in here, doing all kinds of stuff like that.
Earlier, this is the area that you're going to be like for entertaining.
Yeah. And
it's something that caught my eye. It's just if you're sitting here, let me kind of back up here for these guys so they can get some context to this, because this is not really where the tractors are going to stay. This is going to be concrete.
But this will be concreted. We'll have some Adirondack chairs, like family seating. I'll have a grill over here. So, if you turn around and show everyone this field, this is where the kids will ride, dirt bikes or ATVs or whatever. And, the parents can kind of be here in the shade, which we like here in Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, dreaming big, we're going to have a path, probably a fire pit at the end, raised bed gardens, and again, just maybe places for people to hang out. And I like to shoot a bow, so I live that bow life. So,
I don't want to get off too far off the subject, but we are, the subject of this video is regrets, how to build a pole barn without regrets. And it looks like that you've put a lot of time and effort into building this pole barn, and you really put a lot of thought into it. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I didn't. When I built my pole barn, we put up what we thought we could afford at that time, without not realizing that it's going to cost so much more to, it's what costs you $50,000 this year is going to cost you $100,000 5-6 years from now.
But we'll go in the building and I'll show you some upgrades I think you definitely want to consider doing, especially if you're going to do a building this size, things that are important to me. And I think those are the kinds of things that also can avoid the regrets, because if you do these small things, which, I'm not trying to spend your money, but these are preventative additions that you can do that's going to make the building last a lot longer and be a lot more enjoyable. A rubber membrane that goes around.
Show them what you're talking about here.
So this right here, this rot block, it's like a rubber membrane that goes around the post to keep the soil and keeping that moisture off of it. So less moisture means less rot, you would think. These are all treated. It's very high quality lumber. This is not the stuff you get like a home improvement store, but it was a modest expense. And for me, I just think that if we're going to spend the kind of money, like the foundation is where you really want to, focus your efforts. You're also going to get probably a lot of sticker shock when you build a barn.
Yeah.
There's things you can grow into and do later, which I'll show you guys some of that here in a little bit, but there's also the stuff you got to do now. I can't go back and put stuff like that back in, so it has to be done now.
And that's something, if you don't do that now, you're going to regret it later for sure. But one thing that caught my eye, and I want to know why you did it, is you, on the underside of your pole barn, you went ahead and put tin or metal. I guess this would be a metal roofing on the underside. Why did you do that?
Multiple reasons. Again, like everything else, there's going to be a lot of reasons, but
it looks good.
Carpenter bees, wasps, red wasp, all those things love wood. So if this was wood under here, well, we would have all kinds of issues. Birds building nests, all that stuff. What I wanted this to be is I wanted it to be a place where, the plumber right now is going to be working on putting hydrants in all four corners for water. I could come out here, and as you see, it's dirty. I mean, this was laying in the mud before it was built.
Right, sure. That'll all be washed off.
Yeah, I want to pressure wash this building and be done with it. I want it to be very, very weather tight, but also I don't want to have a bunch of rafters that are going to have, again, birds pooping everywhere, and it's just the stuff you deal with. We have other barns. We deal with bird poop all the time. Wasn't going to deal with it this time.
That's something I think we need to take into account
Absolutely.
when you're building a building nowadays, is if we age, I'm not going to have the ability to come out here and paint my pole barn poles and the framing and underside and keep them treated like I would right now. Right now, I'm healthy and moving around pretty great. Right. But this thing is going to be around for you for a lifetime.
Well, and these are all, once these season and dry out a little bit, I'll stain these kind of like a walnut stain, which I think is going to look real nice with the gray.
Yeah, absolutely, with this gray and black.
And the wainscoting is something that's an upgrade. You don't have to do wainscoting. That's 100% aesthetic. I just think it looks nice.
It is.
So this is something to consider, is that you're going to be looking at this building, and everyone says like, well, you just need a shop, just to cover your needs. Well, yes, but
why not?
But why not make it attractive? Because if not, you're just look at a big gray square in your yard.
Now, you've put a lot of time and effort in this. We've talked about this many times. It's one of the reasons I want to do this video. Do you have any regrets in this building, or do you think you've addressed them all?
I think one of the regrets I may have is what we were just talking about, the metal under the ceiling. Now, there's two things. One is by running the metal this way, we didn't have to have extra lumber, which would be where they basically would frame it out. That's why the metal's running this way and not.
It runs along and ties onto the trusses.
Right. I think it'd look nice if we would have had the ceiling flat. You could put like can lights and stuff like that. But then that's when I start saying, okay, I'm not building a house, I'm building a barn. And this solves the need that I had. And it would have cost more money. And that I don't think that was worth the money to us. And this actually gives us a little more headspace, which is good too.
So you really didn't give me a regret. You gave me.
It's just something I would have done differently.
So you would do it now? If you had to do it again, you would?
I don't know. Good question.
That's not a regret then.
I guess not.
All right.
Listen, man, I feel blessed to have this, building.
That's actually a really good place to be when you're this far along in the project and you're really having a hard time finding a regret.
One thing I think that you guys really may want to consider. This is 26 gauge instead of 29 gauge steel.
That's important.
29 gauge steel is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but we're in Tennessee, and I want this building to be very strong and sturdy, and I want to stand up to high winds, to hail, which is very common here in Tennessee. And the 26 gauge steel, it was like another $1,200 or something to have a thicker steel. Now, if you're buying a safe, you're buying tools, you're buying tractors, you're buying implements, thicker steel is good. I'm very, very happy that we decided to do this, and not just on the roof, or if you're really budget conscious, just do it on the roof.
Right. We put 26 on our roof as well.
Right.
We've went through several hailstorms.
Any damage?
No, not at all. And then on a little small building we had, it had a much lighter roof tin, and there's little dings all over it.
Yeah. Well, this is, and to do it all over the building was not crazy expensive. Some of the stuff that you would think would be cheap, it's expensive. And some of the stuff like that, yes, it costs more money, but in the life of this building, having thicker steel is going to be good. So all the walls, the ceiling, the roof, this under the overhang, this is 29 gauge.
Well, that makes sense. Just lighter.
Right.
You don't really need that.
Right.
Hail's not going to hit it from there.
No. But this stuff is, this building's solid. Wait till I take you inside and I'll show you what the interior is built of, because that's a big upgrade I think you guys want to consider.
Let's do it. So as we're walking around and going inside, you've got a lot of overhang all the way around your barn here.
Well, some of the most expensive parts of this building is going to be the steel, the insulation, which we'll talk about. But what you really need is to keep two things off your equipment: moisture and sunlight.
Absolutely.
UV rays are worse on your equipment than rain. And this gives me almost a 96 by 62 under roof, but the building itself is 50 by 70 enclosed.
So you got that much additional storage.
Right.
Like you can back up your rotary cutter and set in here. You can back up, just like right here, you got all your equipment. This is kind of you're filling it out what you're going to do.
Yeah, and it's going to take time. You really have to think about, it's not helpful if you're going to have a shop where you're going to have like, I have this pre-wired for an auto lift. Well, if I'm going to have a lift, I need to have workspace in front of it for tools, and I need to be able to park something behind it, because if you're working on a project, you know, project cars usually take a couple years. So
right, absolutely. I'm checking out all your trenching here. You got a lot of trenching going on here.
Well, and
I'm sure you dug all this by hand, right?
Oh, absolutely. That trencher you just saw, and big shout out to my friend Kyle from Spicer Designs. He came out here, spent the weekend with me, and wired a lot of the building, which we're going to show you some of the stuff on the inside of the building that he helped do. And man, he is a wizard. So
this is you guys have something to do with. We don't have rock.
This is a moat.
Yeah, in West Tennessee, we don't have rock like this. You've got like some serious slabs of rock in here.
Well, and that little Baumolite trencher was doing great until I started hitting boulders, and then it was like, okay, well,
yeah, boulders are boulders.
Mini skid steer with a boulder is not going to really work out too well.
All right, now I'm gonna jump the moat. Hopefully, I don't fall in. If I do, it's on camera. Made it. My agility amazes me.
All right, so this is one thing you guys will regret. And I talked to my buddy Evan from Country View Acres, and he gave me this recommendation, and I am so grateful he did. Do not do 10-foot doors.
Oh, yeah.
These are all 12 feet wide. They're going to try and talk you into 10 feet doors. Tell them no. You want at least 12-foot doors. So this is 12 by 14. The camper will fit in here. And just about, I mean, I could park a semi in here if I wanted to.
Absolutely.
And then these are 12 by 12. So really just wanted one really high bay door. You're not always going to have all the doors open. If it's wintertime, you're trying to keep the place warm, you're never going to open this door.
Right, right.
That's why you want to have some man doors on all corners too. Because again, I think a man door addition was $100. So to have an extra man door and not have to open these up, let all your heat or all your cool out,
yeah,
that's the right thing to do.
And you've got what, 3 or 4 man doors in here?
I have 4. I have one here, one on each.
One on each wall.
Right.
Okay.
And this is the only one that's exposed. All the other ones are under the lean-to.
Show us on the inside your upgrades you were talking about. We done got sidetracked, guys. We're bad about that.
The building was designed to grow into. What I mean by grow into is that I did 18-foot ceilings, because over here there's going to be a mezzanine or loft or whatever people call them. Whatever.
We call them mezzanines, but
yeah, y'all leave a comment. Tell us what you call it, because I don't. We call it
either. It'd be either one.
Right.
Either or either.
Whatever.
It could be a loft or it would be a mezzanine.
It could be both.
Right.
So this will have basically a 10 by 50. Is that right? Yeah, 10 by 50 mezzanine, which is about 500 square feet. And you'll go up a little staircase, and, you know, hunting equipment and things that we're trying to store, those odd tools that you don't use all the time.
Right. It's going to be stuff that you use seldomly.
And this is the key. And this is the one thing that I did a lot of research and I learned, and this is a huge, huge trick that I want you guys to consider. When you do that, you're going to put a railing, make the railing to where it's almost like a gate. You can slide it open this way. You could put all of your stuff on a pallet and lift it up with your pallet forks and then move all those boxes. So you're not bringing boxes and crates and tools and stuff up and down a staircase. This way, you just take your skid steer, your tractor, lift it up there, walk up the stairs, unload stuff. I mean, that is so smart. Or a man lift. You know, that's where you grow into it. I'm going to do that when I can afford to do it. And looking over here, so this is going to be plumbed in. We're on a well. So the wellhead is what you see with the cinder blocks. The well's going to come in over in this corner. This will be a very small, modest bathroom just for people to use while they're down here. And I'll have a sink, modest kind of kitchenette just for cooking and grilling and stuff, washing your hands after working on stuff. And this will likely be a studio for my channel back here. We'll do, unboxings and build stuff and fix stuff and tinker with stuff. And to the left of the 2515, if you see that pipe coming up, that's going to be the power for an auto lift here. So the 18-foot ceiling really helps you out when it comes to...
So you could put a truck or a tractor up on a lift?
You could put anything on it, yeah. So follow me here. I want to show you, this is one of the upgrades I wanted to tell you about. So because of structural codes, you can use 6x6s for these walls to go up to 18 feet. That's kind of the very peak of the structural code. Well, I'm not interested in going to like the P. Right. I'm more interested in building it to where it's going to be very, very strong. This goes back to things like I said before. You can't really do this later. So these are all 8x8s. So they are very stout.
Well, what would be a cost difference between 6x6 and 8x8?
I want to say it costs like $800 difference.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
To go with the 8x8s. It's a very high quality wood. I don't know if the camera's showing it, but these are like dark green soaked in arsenic. I asked the guys, I was like, hey, is that the good ones, he goes, oh yeah, the EPA hates these things. So that's the one I wanted to have. And then this is a huge thing too, the insulation behind the metal. It's all through the roof. It's all on the walls. And that insulation, you will regret if you don't do this. My buddy Nathan from Out of the Woods told me in one of his shops, he didn't do this, and the condensation will drip on him.
Constantly drip on. All right, any other regrets? Do you wish you had more windows? Do you wish you had skylights? Are you happy with it? What kind of lighting are you going to put in here? What are your thoughts on that?
So there will be a ceiling at some point once I get concrete in here.
So you will go ahead and put like you did outside?
Yes. Probably, yeah. And then I'm going to do high bay lights, probably a really, really big fan in the center just to move air around in here.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And my goal for this year is electrical, water, concrete, doors, done. Then I'll worry about everything else.
Concrete comes later.
Well, no, the concrete's going to come first too, but one of the biggest bills that I'm going to get is going to be the concrete bill, because I'm going to do 6-inch concrete. Because again,
equipment.
I have a lot of heavy equipment. My skid steer is 12,000 pounds. With the brush mulcher on, it's 15,000 pounds.
And who knows what your channel will bring in the future?
Concrete.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, I'm saying, but I won't be surprised if a dozer pulls up in here one day.
You never know, man.
You like equipment, man. I know that.
I do. And so talking about concrete, people are probably wondering why we keep tripping over these ditches. Like I mentioned, my friend Kyle from Spicer Designs, he's an electrician, master electrician, brilliant guy. And this is, I don't know if the video will be posted by now, but I'm going to post a video with he and I actually doing all this work, trenching it and putting it in. And this is his idea, because wire is very, very expensive. Electrical wire is expensive. So in order to, if you trench the conduit, you're just going from one run to one run. So that's a 50-foot or 70-foot run.
Sure.
Well, if I wanted to go 18 feet up, 70 feet over, 18 feet down, I'm adding 40 feet of wire just for that one run.
And because of the distance, you probably are going to have to go up in gauge to keep from having voltage drop.
Exactly.
So that's things you got to think. So by running it in the ground, you've made it, you can, first off, use a less expensive wire.
Right.
But yet you're getting, it's less expensive and it's less footage, so it's cheaper that way as well.
If I want to put a welder over there or over here, I can, have that option. Again, don't have regrets. When you pour an incredibly expensive 6-inch concrete pad, you're not going to want to take a jackhammer and break it up.
Yeah.
But this over here is pretty interesting too, because on the electrical panel, if you all know in the comments, please put it, because I can't remember what this is called, but this is set up similar to a commercial building to where the panel comes in and it goes to this, which this run is you can add different circuits.
Kind of like a bus bar?
I honestly don't know. Electrical is not.
Listen, y'all tell us what you think. I'm not in the automotive world to be a bus bar.
Right. And this is actually set up too to where I know people love power station reviews. People just love those, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At some point, I'll probably do a power station for in here that's going to be a backup. So I'll have certain circuits like the lights, maybe the fan.
I really suck as a camera person, so we know that.
That's okay.
I'm going to cut your head off 40 times.
It's all right. But yeah, lights, fan, some of the critical things, the well, just things that we would want to be able to run if the power's out for an extended period of time. And a power station is great at that, because the lights won't use a bunch of power and the well won't use a bunch of power. If I have a refrigerator out here, or a freezer, I hunt. So maybe I'll have a backup freezer out here. So again, you want to be able to grow into it.
What do you have any thoughts about all right. So do you have any thoughts about, in the future, solar? Have you thought that far, or is it something you've incorporated into this? I think you already have, basically, with what you're doing here.
I'm very interested in solar because redundancy, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's really helpful to have ways.
You're way out in the country. We're not going to tell where you're at, but you're off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah, I'm off the beaten path, and you just never really know what's going to happen. And we're one family on 100+ acres. If our power goes out, they care a whole lot more about the 75 families on 1 acre than they do the one family on 100 acres. It just takes more time.
Not to be morbid, as we look around here, but we woke up this morning, and Israel and Iran are warring each other.
Yeah.
We went to bed last night. That wasn't happening. So it's just not to say that's going to happen to us here, but things change and change fast.
Well, we talked earlier about why I put the tin under the roof.
Right.
Under the lean-tos, and why I'm going to tin in here.
Yeah, look at egg right there.
because this structure hasn't been here very long.
You already hatched some birds.
And they're already coming after it. So
I'm going to cut your head off again, man.
That's all right. Nature.
You need to be shorter.
I'm just as God made me, brother. But I definitely think that if you guys put the time into planning it and assess your needs, and do not break ground until you know exactly what you want. Because
have a plan.
Have a plan. And all these other things, like we talked about the bathroom and the kitchen or efficiency kind of thing over there, and mezzanine, like that's not happening for a while.
If you're not going to build it yourself, how did you choose your builder?
Well, I don't think that you can build a building like this as quickly, efficiently, as inexpensive as, or price-wise. I don't think you're going to save a lot of money by doing it yourself.
Because they buy in bulk, right?
They buy in bulk. These things, there is like zero waste. They know exactly where everything's going to go. For instance, over here in these windows, the builder called me and said, hey, they have these windows a little bit lower. I think you're probably going to want them a little bit taller because you're probably going to put a countertop here, right? I was like, absolutely. He's like, yeah, let me make them taller for you. So stuff like that someone may have a regret, you may be like, okay, well, I'm going to put a countertop here. They build a window too low, and now your countertop is kind of looking over your window, which it just doesn't look good, right? So having somebody who does this all day, every day, it took them 2 weeks to build this building.
And less than perfect weather.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, and they did a fantastic job. It's super solid. Like everything it was done safely. Like some of the stuff, these trusses are heavy and they're 18 feet in the air. Watching these guys do this work, I mean, unless you're a builder, then absolutely build it yourself. But I don't think that I would have saved anything trying to do this myself, and I would still be working on the framing as opposed to getting my equipment undercover. I need this building. I don't want this building. It's very different. I put some wants in it, which I think you should do too. But if you need the building, it needs to be done right. It needs to be done quickly. I would interview some builders and hire one that you like.
So I stepped outside and he's right here in the doorway. I'm way back now. I can get him in the shot. I didn't cut his head off. Talk to me about your thought process on doors. Insulated doors, roll-up doors, swing-out doors. What are you going to do?
I think it's a great question. So you mentioned earlier, as you get older, things get difficult. Like right now, I'm in great physical shape, even though I maybe have some gray hair and a little bit of little extra pounds like most of us do. But I can roll up doors. I can lift them. I'm not that's fine. I'm cool with that. But I've wired them for electric power doors later. But I'm going to do the bifold, is that what they're called? Where they fold up and insulated. Because with all that concrete in here, the shade and those kinds of things, it should keep us a lot cooler in the winter or summertime and warmer in the wintertime. There will probably be a wood stove in here at some point. That would be nice to have the insulation. And this is a huge span. So if I ever do spray foam insulation in the future, some people have talked about doing that as an option. I may not. It really just depends on our climate and using the building for a season or two. But for doors, I think we'll do insulated. They'll be black. They'll look really cool. And yeah, they're going to cost a lot of money too.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this video up here. But before you go, I want you to do us the favor. And we're not know-all. We don't know everything. We've not done everything. What are some of the regrets that you've had, or what are some of the mistakes that have been made out there that we can tell other people in the comment section? This video is really to help people. I see so many people go build a building, including myself, and then regret how it was done and when it was done. I actually built my pole barn the wrong direction. So now I can't put solar panels on the top of it because I didn't think that through. So,
well, and if you have recommendations for us, I'm not too proud. If you want to go over to our channel, check out those videos and be like, hey, Joe, have you considered this?
Absolutely.
Have you thought I am, if you're
Joe the Farmer.
Joe the Farmer. But if you watch my channel, you'll realize I am not an expert at anything, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and get into a project. And this has been a massive undertaking. It's been a huge project. I've learned a lot, but I have more to learn. So if you guys have any recommendations about layout or things I should consider before building mezzanine or any of that kind of stuff, I'm all ears.
Listen, God bless. Have a great day.